Hey everybody, today I'm going to be talking about Taurus, the second sign of the zodiac. It is a fixed earth sign. Fixed is its, what's it called? Multiplicity or something. Either way, it means that Taurus is very unchangeable, along with the other fixed signs, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo. And it's an earth sign, meaning that they're very grounded, they're very practical. You usually don't meet too many Tauruses that are kind of crazy, unless they have a weird moon or something, or a weird Mercury. So, yeah. And I'm also going to talk about the second house and Venus and Earth, because I think Earth also rules Taurus. All right, so let's start at the second house. The second house, now when I talked about Aries, I talked about the first house. First house, the ascendant, which is the part of the sky. It's where the constellation is rising in the east. Not where the sun's rising, but what constellation is rising in the east when you're born. So you're sort of born with that energy unconsciously. It's our ego. It's how we express ourselves to the world. Now, in order to have a healthy ego, you have to have self-worth too. You can't just be all ego. Otherwise, you'll be a narcissist. So the second house is the house of foundation of our worth, material and internal, practical worth. So it ties into Taurus, into how a Taurus might define themselves by what they own or what they have. On the shallow level, on the lower level of a Taurus, they'll be strictly defined by what kind of shoes they have, or what kind of cars they drive, or what kind of house they own, or whatever. But and that's more like an insecure Taurus. But a Taurus that is secure with their worth, with their inner worth, they'll be able to. Let me just adjust this. Okay. They'll be able to. They'll be more confident about themselves. So the second house is where we get our ideas of worth, where we get our ideas of what it means to be secure. Not only I feel like security in ourselves, like growing up with self-worth and self-love, but also with our material stability, like knowing that we'll be able to like pay the rent on time, and that, we have enough money to feed our family, stuff like that. That's what the second house really represents to me. So like if you have Leo in the second house, your entire self-worth, your concept of worth might just be built on how you can creatively express yourself to the world. You might have grown up, with your parents or your environment, very supportive of how you how you pursue your creative endeavors, or just having a lot of people around you supporting you and cheering you on, and being able to like truly be your true self to the world. So yeah, and we can get into Taurus. Again, like I mentioned, Taurus on the lower level, or dictionary definitions, Taurus are laid back. They're lazy or whatever. They like to eat. Again, all of this is true. These are just generalizations, though. And that's why I don't like dictionary definitions. They're sort of generalizations. But, Taurus, being fixed earth, they are the most down-to-earth sign. In that they probably see the world in the most practical way out of everybody else. Like, I have a sister who's a Taurus. Like, I feel like she's the most common sense, rational person when I talk to her. Because I'm all sometimes, but, I can ask her something and she'll give me a straightforward answer. So they're really good at that. They're good at, a Taurus isn't going to, unless, of course, there's other parts of a Taurus, but a Taurus isn't really going to be impressed by people who, think they're better than them, or that impressed by people that are trying to enter competitions. They're not very competitive. They see their track and they follow it in whatever way that means to them. Like, they set their own goalposts. They get to where they want to go in their own time. Which is probably, I feel like, the best thing about Taurus is that they are unswayed. Again, a Taurus, I feel like they have to make sure that that they are progressing forward, because a Taurus might really just get in a rut and like staying in that rut. And ruts aren't bad, but especially if they have more potential, if they have the capacity to do more and to really expand their world, a Taurus isn't really going to do that unless outside forces make them. Like, life circumstances or certain things that are thrown at them sort of force them to make that change. Unlike the opposite of Taurus, which is Scorpio. Scorpio is not that, well, it depends on what Scorpio, whether or not they invite chaos into their lives or chaos just happens naturally. That they're able to adapt to it and work with it and transform with it. A Taurus, it might take them a while to really get resettled, but if they make a change that's for the better, it'll be great. And that's mainly because Venus rules Taurus, traditionally. I guess I'll talk about that. Venus, people say that Venus, with Taurus, Venus is in its more receptive, feminine, passive state. And that Venus also rules Libra, which is the more extroverted, assertive quality of Venus. Wanting to make communications, wanting to get to know people, wanting to form relationships. While Taurus they really like to settle and absorb what they've earned. They don't want to have to go out and get it aggressively like a Libra would. I mean, they would, but they want to see the fruits of their labor all around them. They just want to relax in that. Which Venus also represents, which it represents the sensual side of life. Good food, good clothes, good music, good painting, good literature. Things that are very dignified and harmonic in the senses. And so, yeah, that's pretty much that aspect of it. But I have a case, and I've seen other people write about this, about Earth being a ruler of Taurus, which makes just the most sense, because I don't want to say that a Taurus can't be an astrophysicist. They totally could. But a Taurus really, everything they want, everything they need, everything that's possible is here on Earth. It's here in the form of money, which also rules the second house. It's the money. It's the liquid money you own. It's your paycheck. It's the house of your paycheck. It's the money you make just working. It's not complicated like the 8th house, which is more. Yeah, I'll talk about that when I get to Scorpio. But yeah, it's material money. It's material gains. Which to Taurus is like, it just makes the most sense. A Taurus, they could be like a financial, I always think of like banking and like financial institutions or like things doing with like construction, those sort of fields for Taurus, because, the only things that are sure in this world are death and taxes, which are more kind of Scorpio things. But I see like taxes sort of being a Taurus thing too. So it's like it's practical. Money, having a place to live, having a way to get to work, and working, that's, baseline Taurus sort of things. Because, I could go all into I like to think about the birth chart. Again, if you don't know your birth chart or whatever, there's links down here. A birth chart is like, a history of civilization. Aries is when humans first realized we were humans. It's when you're born. It's your ego. After you're born, I'm kind of stealing this from Alyssa Sharp. She's so awesome. After you're born, you need some place to stay. So you build a house. So yeah, that's pretty much what that is. Everything that's I feel like is basic is pretty much what, not in a bad way, but that's what Tauruses are. You know, Taurus is, they're simple. It's like, I mean, they're so well, I don't want to see. I don't want to lapse into dictionary definitions, but they are like pretty harmonious. You're not gonna meet like a fucking crazy off the wall Taurus unless they have like a Gemini moon. But even then, like they're still like really chill. Like, um, you know, and they're so, you know, a Taurus right off the bat. Like when you meet them, like they're not gonna put up a front. They're not going to make any extraordinary efforts to impress you. Even if they're like flashing off their shoes or they're flashing off their car or whatever, they're going to do it in like a really low key way. Like, yeah, I know I got a good car, but yeah, no big deal. Like, they're so cool like that. And they're also very attractive. Like, yeah, I would like to date a Taurus. If only I keep attracting weird people. But anyway, yeah, that's Taurus. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Yeah, that's Taurus for you. Yeah. Thanks for watching.